Yo, Philly 254 living life. Back at it. So, for any of those who have the MetaQuest Plus or thinking about MetaQuest Plus, to keep in mind, it does have a month-long trial. So, you got some time you can sign up for it and have some time to think about if you want to keep it or not. There are two brand new games for April that are now available. And the two games are Drop Dead Dual Strike Edition and Floor Plan 2. I had to read it. Floor Plan 2. Now, this first part of this video is going to be about Drop Dead. We're just going to call it Drop Dead for short. This is actually, I think, level 3, I think. Maybe, yeah, I think it's level 3 or whatever. I had a lot more footage originally recorded, and then I realized I didn't actually hit the record button, so it kind of got me on that one. But I did go ahead and replay level 3, and I'm actually playing better than I originally did on the unrecorded version of it. And it's a pretty cool game. It's pretty fun. It's real arcadey. So as you can see, it's a zombie game. I'm not gonna go into the full details of the story, but basically it's a zombie game, and it's on rails. So think of the old school arcade cabinets. You're on rails. You don't really control your movement as far as going from one location to another. The game does that for you. You can kind of feel a little disorienting a little bit as it moves on its own, and you got, you're in VR basically, but it's pretty cool. Loading, or not say loading, but reloading your weapon is basically just almost like holstering it. Just basically flick your little wrist down and flick it back up, and it kind of reloads the weapon, and has like an active reload system where you can kind of see it going right there. The little bar moves, and if you hit the little trigger button, it'll do active reload, so you're a little quicker. If you don't hit it within that green area, it takes a little longer to load than it normally would, or you can just let it reload on its own. So it's you kind of control the speed at which it reloads. Picking up weapons, you can if you just point at it, you can see what I just did right there. You point at it, basically pointing your little stick without hitting anything yet, and it'll kind of highlight the weapon. Then you hit the trigger button, and it kind of pulls it to you, and then you can kind of do what you need with it. Your main gun, which is a pistol, has no real ammo limit on it, so that's pretty cool. Any other guns you find or whatever, they do have limits on how much ammo they have, and from what I can tell, there is no reloading. Once it's used up, it's used up, and you can keep it moving. The game is pretty fun though. The game's pretty fun. Everything feels pretty smooth for what it is. Graphics, as you can tell, those look more like, I'd say, smartphone graphics. As far as smartphone games that have like 3D, have 3D capacity or 3D type games or whatnot. It's kind of on that level. Nothing super crazy or whatever. It has the whole basic thing of just seeing your hand. You don't see your arms or whatever. There is kind of like a small little dodge mechanic, as you can see, as that little spitter zombie in the background there keeps spitting at me. You can either, if you have I guess a weapon in your other hand, your offhand, you can kind of just deflect the spit, or you can actually dodge to the left or right and kind of dodge the spit, which I don't know if I do it in this game, but I do it every now and then. And again, in this playthrough, I'm actually doing much better than how I did in the original playthrough. One thing I kind of felt like when aiming, and it could be a me thing or it could be the game, I don't know, it felt like aiming was slightly off. I felt like I had to aim slightly to the left of my target to get a good shot in. At first, in the unrecorded footage, I was just missing everything, and I just couldn't figure it out. Then I kind of realized if I aim a little bit to the left where I'm actually aiming, things get a little better. So this kind of, I don't know if that's the game or just me sucking at aiming. It could be either or, to be honest with you. The game is not, again, since it's on rails, you don't have to have a whole lot of space to play. You can literally play it while sitting down. That's what I did. But if you do it while sitting down, make sure you go into the settings and note that that's the option you're choosing. Otherwise, it's like your dude, if you don't do that, which again, it's not in this current playthrough because I actually changed it by then, but in the original recording, my dude looked so much shorter because I guess the game was assuming I was crouching the entire time. So it seemed like I was like 4 feet tall compared to everybody else. After I did this little replay of this level, I actually found that setting in the that option in the settings, and I set it to where I was actually sitting down, and it kind of adjusted my height appropriately. So kind of FYI. The one thing I will say about the game is the holstering the gun kind of sucks, or not reloading, because you gotta flick your wrist down, and you can see sometimes sometimes in this game I'm trying to reload and it just won't do it. I don't know I haven't figured out the sweet spot to get it to do it sometimes, but it can be a problem. I figured out on my left hand it's much worse than it is with the right hand. So it could be a me thing, maybe because I was sitting down, and maybe had I been standing, it might have been a lot easier. But while sitting down, I did have some issues with reloading, actually activating the actual reload animation and whatnot. The game is multiplayer. It has options for multiplayer. From what I can tell, it seems to be kind of a horde mode. I did not go into the multiplayer section of it, to be honest with you, so I won't comment on that. I kind of just did some of the single player, which again, it was pretty fun. And as you can see, I was doing my thing. It does have melee weapons, whatever. You can kind of, again, pick it up, but just by kind of pointing at it and then pressing the trigger button, it kind of just magnetizes it to your hand. They do have damage, the weapons, I guess the melee weapons, they can take actual, durability issues, so if you use it for too long, it will break. You have to kind of reload on that. You can't really holster those, as I can tell. So either you leave it where you're at or you walk around holding it. But you can dual wield. So as you noticed earlier, I had a shotgun. You had to choose. One hand, your offhand weapon, you kind of choose between melee or melee, how you want to pronounce it. Or you can just choose, to not have anything in your main weapon. You can choose your gun, which that one can be holstered. And you have like a little pack or whatever. So it's pretty cool. The game was pretty fun. I probably will go back and play this one a little bit more because I had some fun with it. My arm was getting tired from having to constantly flick my arm up and down to reload, but it is what it is. Maybe I'll try standing up, and maybe, because I was flicking a lot trying to get it to, come on, start the reload animation. A lot of times when I died, it was because I was basically couldn't get my gun to reload, any of my guns to reload. And that was really annoying at times. So again, I don't know if it was just the function of the game or because I was sitting down, and maybe it's just I haven't figured out the sweet spot because I'm sitting down when I was playing. Otherwise, game's pretty fun. Check it out. If you don't have it, check it out. It's free if you have MetaQuest Plus, and if you don't have it, you can just get it. But you know what? Let's move on to the next game, and we'll talk about that. All right, our next game is Floor Plan 2. I never played Floor Plan 1, so I can't really comment on that. Floor Plan 2, it's a puzzle game. Now, before you start, you do want to, I learned this from trying out the actual Drop Dead 2, is checking out and verifying that you're actually going to choose the correct options as far as if you're sitting down and everything. Because if you do that, you can kind of adjust, the distance between the floor and the objects to yourself. And the game will kind of compensates for all that a little more accurately. Because apparently there are multiple options, and you can kind of read it there. Your very first option, apparently you can have a lot of freedom of movement. Second option, and you're just standing still. And the third option is you're actually just seated. So I haven't tried anything but the seated option. So that's kind of where it is. Now, when you choose a seated option, again, you can adjust the distance between the floor and objects to yourself within the game. And basically, things kind of go further. And you can do that within the game the entire time by using, I think it's the left trigger. You can kind of make things closer and further away from yourself. The loading screen takes a while. And actually, by the time you hear this, I'm going to probably edit this loading screen out. So just FYI. All right, now, real talk. By now, I probably edited everything back together to get rid of that loading screen. That's a long ass loading screen. I'm gonna be real with you. It took a while. I sat here and watched it do its thing so I could start talking again. That's a long ass loading screen. So it had to be edited out. So that's one negative against the game. Now, as I was saying, the type of game that it is it's a puzzle game. And it does give you a little tutorial, and the tutorial is like a playthrough tutorial where it's kind of weird. It kind of sets it up like you're in the customer service kind of thing. You're solving people's problems, and so I'll probably let that play a little bit through here. But it does this thing in, I'm assuming if you're in the full active motion mode where you're standing up and walking around, you can walk more smoothly through the game. But if you're choosing the more standard, stationary or sitting, you don't move freely. You more just press a little button and it kind of teleports you to where you need to be. It's pretty cool. The game itself, you can see your arms. That's one big thing. I'll throw it out there. You can see that's pretty cool. You can see your arms. I'm not a big puzzle game fanatic. That's not really my thing, I'll be honest with you. But I'm not gonna let that knock the actual game itself. It is a puzzle game. It kind of compared itself to like an escape room. I think it one of the if you were to choose the actual perspective, if you're going to move around or if you're just going to stand still or whatever, I think it compared itself to like an escape room. One thing I found out is when you're actually into the game outside of the tutorial, it took me a while to figure out the very first puzzle. You won't even see me figure out the very first puzzle in this, because what you'll probably see is me just trying to figure shit out. Is what I didn't get at the time of the recording. I figured it out after I turned off the recording, because I was like, I gotta figure this out now, for real. At the time of the recording, when you go into the east wing of the building, which is the very first puzzle, you got 3 floors you can be on. One thing I'll just tell you, the entire wing, those 3 floors are part of the puzzle. It's not just you go into one wing and one floor, you do the puzzle there, then you go to the next wing, one floor, and you do the puzzle. No, the entire thing is a puzzle. You know what I'm saying? And I did not realize that. And I was just mind blown. And it was just pissing me off. I'm not a puzzle person in these games, man. But after I kind of started figuring that out, it's like, oh, okay. Things started clicking, and I moved on to, further parts of within the actual game. But what you're gonna see is me just sitting here confused on what the hell I'm supposed to do. It's pretty cool, but the game itself, if you're into puzzle games, it's pretty fun. I haven't ever done an escape room, so I can't compare it to if it's like an escape room, to be honest with you. I've never really done one in real life. If you have, you can let me know. Throw it in the comments. Is it something like an escape room? I don't know. But it's pretty fun. It was pretty clever. After you start kind of figuring things out, figure out the vibe of the game, and realize that entire wing is a puzzle, and not just each floor has its own little mini puzzle. That's when things start kind of clicking. It uses objects within the game as things you can kind of save in your little fanny pack. Your little fanny pack on. And those objects that you find for one thing can be used later on for another puzzle or another piece of a puzzle. And that's kind of what the tutorial basically walks you through. It's kind of teaching you that fact that there are certain things you may, like a small mini puzzle you may solve or fix, but all you're really doing is getting an object that you can later on save for later on. It's pretty cool. Cool little concept. Like, again, I never played Floor Plan 1, so I have no idea of how to compare it to that original game. But from what this is, if this is what you like, this type of game, I think it'll be pretty cool. See, the shit freaks me out. The people are like Muppets, and that just freaks me the fuck out. But if you like this type of game, puzzle style kind of thing, I guess escape room type thing, this will definitely be up your alley to at least try out. Again, if you have MetaQuest Plus, it's free. It's right there. And if you don't have MetaQuest Plus, why not? I mean, it's the trial is a month-long trial, so that way you get plenty of time to play either one of these games or any other backlog of games that it has that's on MetaQuest Plus, because that does have a little bit of a backlog of games you can choose to play. So it gives you time to kind of figure out if you really like it or not. To be honest with you, I decided to go ahead and subscribe to it. And what you can get is it's $6.99 per month or $59 a year. It's your option. If you do want to subscribe to it, your option to choose which one you want to do. But it's definitely something you want to do. Not want to do, but something you may want to check out and see if that's up your alley or not. You may not want to do that. It may not be, I just want to play the few games I got. I don't even play games on MetaQuest. Okay, if you don't even play games, that's not even the reason why you bought it. Yeah, MetaQuest Plus isn't even for you, because from what I can tell, it's all about the games on MetaQuest Plus. So, you see I snatched that lady's glasses off. That lady's glasses off. Overall, though, this particular game, for what it is pretty cool, pretty fun. It's a little quirky, you know what I'm saying? Again, you can see your arm, that's always a cool thing. It took me a while to kind of figure out sometimes, because you have, when you move your hands around, it has little, light strings to kind of let you know exactly what your hands are trying to touch, what's touchable or grabbable within the environment. And sometimes trying to get it to grab the certain, or aim at whatever you're trying to grab can kind of be a thing. But it's totally cool. Once you kind of get the hang of it, it's totally cool. I'd say if you have the game, you might as well try it out, or MetaQuest Plus, if you might as well try it out. If you like this type of game, definitely try it out. If you're into puzzle games and whatnot, things to make you tick or think, Yeah, try it out, man. If you like more MetaQuest gameplay, lives, reviews, like and subscribe. Cruise through the playlist. And I'm out. You know what? I might let it play a little bit of some of the my fuck ups where I was trying to figure out the game. I don't know. Whatever. If I do, it may go on a little further. If it don't, I'm out. For real.